Hi, U4. We are back again for our last religion lesson for week 2, and that's lesson 6. And today we're going to look at what Jesus is going to teach us, telling us that's important, using his an example with his friends, his close friends, Mary and Martha. And we're going to look at a passage and compare the differences between what Mary has done, not Mary, the mother of God, but Mary, just a family friend of Jesus, Mary and Mary's sister Martha. Okay, so let me get started and share screen with you. So lesson 6, we're looking at Mary and Martha. And we're going to look into this scripture passage in Luke chapter 10, verses 38 to 42. At the home of Martha and Mary, as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you're worried and upset about many things. A few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." Okay, so this passage looks at the journey of Jesus into Jerusalem. Okay, it gives us the context of his friendship, his encounter between Martha, Mary, and Jesus, specifically between Martha and Jesus. So Martha opened up her home, provided hospitality, welcoming Jesus into her home. So Jesus is with his friends. Mary's, which is Martha's sister, her relationship with Jesus was very straightforward. She sat at the feet of Jesus and just listened to him and soaked up every single word like a sponge. It is a sign of a disciple. So her relationship with Jesus, a disciple and rabbi, which is a teacher in a Jewish culture, it is the statement about how Jesus welcomed women. A lot of you might have heard me telling you the stories how back in Jesus's time, the status of a woman, it's very low. They cannot walk on the street by themselves. They are expected to just stay home, cook and clean. They cannot go and learn. And certainly they don't actually sit with the men and learn or listen when a rabbi, a teacher, is teaching. So for Mary to be sitting with Jesus, that's very, very strange in Jesus's time. Sometimes it could be very challenging, very dangerous for them. And so you can see that it is being for women to be, sitting, having a teacher and student relationship with Jesus, it's being frowned upon, okay, in Jesus's society, where women were denied by with many opportunities, so many things that they're not allowed to do or say. But at the same time, the sister Martha bustled around as a conscientious host, because she's the host who welcomed Jesus in. That's what what she's expected to do at her time, being a woman. And then perhaps Jesus is saying that she's too caught up in her role and the tradition that has been assigned to women. And this story actually reminds us what is most important, which is listening to Jesus and following his message of love, allowing it to enter our lives. Jesus didn't accept the solution for Martha, telling Mary to go help Martha, but instead scolded her, got a little bit upset with Martha for her being distracted with all these other things that she was doing, except listening to him. And you can see that at the end of it, Jesus actually got Martha, Martha. This double naming of someone, there's a significant meaning in the Bible. Every time when God or Jesus called someone for a particular mission, their name are called twice. Abraham, Abraham, Moses, Moses, Saul, Saul. Okay, so in here, when Jesus named Martha twice, calling her Martha, Martha, is actually a calling, an invitation into discipleship, asking her to leave behind a traditional role and come on and stay with me, be my student. Okay, so this story between Mary and Martha, it's sometimes being looked at as the difference between a contemplative life, which is Mary's life, and just, you know, not very active and just sit there and listen and reflect and all that, where in comparison to Martha's life, which is very active. So Mary was sitting at Jesus's feet, listening to him with all the other men, which, as I said, is very unusual in their culture. So therefore, Jesus and Mary are also challenging a particular tradition in their society. Okay, this challenging idea could be very, scary, and it worries Martha because her sister might get into trouble. But at the end, really, Jesus is saying to Martha that, don't get distracted. Do whatever that you need to do. If you need to serve, you do it happily. You want to clean dishes, you want to tidy things up, do it without distractions. Do it happily. Okay? Stop worrying. If you want to listen, sit down and listen. It's kind of saying, don't stress. Do not fret, Martha. Stop worrying. Okay? He's not so much questioning her choice of work, but it's more about her anxiousness, right? So if Martha decided to choose to clean and serve the Lord, and she's doing it happily without complaining, Jesus is going, well, that's the way of service that you want to do. Great, excellent, not a problem at all. Okay, so that's the unpacking of the story, scripture story of Mary and Martha. And in your Google Doc for this lesson, there are 5 I wonder questions that I want you to answer. And they are: I wonder why Mary chose to sit and listen to Jesus. I wonder what Jesus was speaking about. I wonder why Jesus thought that Mary had made the better choice. I wonder what Jesus meant when he said, only one thing is really important. And I wonder what choice you would have made if you were there. Okay, so that's the end of lesson 6. And that's the end for week 2's religion lesson as well. So we've delved into a little bit more of prayer, looking at last week we looked at what prayer is, what are different ways of praying, and you started your prayer journal. Okay, and you started your prayer journal, and this week we looked at Jesus being a man of prayer, Jesus going into a deserted place to pray, and we look at communal prayer, and we looked at his interaction with his friends and talking about, sitting down, listening to him. Remember, listening is also a way of praying, and what's the difference, which one he prefers us to do. So there's a lot more going on than just simply doing the sign of the cross very quickly and saying the Our Father. Okay, so I'm glad that you get to learn a bit more about that now. Okay, so I hope that you get to complete your lesson 4, 5, and 6 this week, and then submit your Google Doc at the end of the week so we can mark off saying that you've completed your task for this week as well. Anyway, hopefully the weather isn't too bad and you can complete your task early and go out for a walk or take some fresh air. Alrighty, until next week, I'll see you again. Bye.